Okay. So before we begin, a word from our sponsors. Athletic Greens. It's a great product. I'm just kidding. I don't have a sponsor.
This is my sponsor, right?
Oh, dude, I got some too.
Ah,
Velo.
oh, you got the
But
Velo as well?
yeah, but this
Shit.
shit is weak as hell compared to
Really?
yeah,
Yeah,
compared to the Velo you guys got over there in Switzerland.
yeah, I just bought this one on the way to college earlier today, and I drove there with the car actually because it was raining and I was like not feeling driving with by bike for like the rain. And then
Yeah.
I was on the way there, and then suddenly I get like a text. It's like your that one fucking seminar is like not happening today since fucking professor got COVID or whatever. And I just like made a U-turn on the street, fucking parked it at the gas station, hopped in, got one of those, and fucking went home again, man. Like,
Yeah, so I saved this can specifically just to show you American Velo at its
mm,
finest. That I mean, that's about as good as it gets there, son. Um, and then we got this Zen.
uh,
That's about
I, I I've heard of those actually. I actually had one of those one time.
this is about 25% of the strength of what you got. I don't know.
Yeah, I
Maybe if they
actually
sell it in Europe, it'd
can
be
you
cheaper.
show the camera quick?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I've actually had one of those ones.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they sent like not that exact one, but then that brand because usually when I order them, I get them from Denmark. And one time I usually order like 10 cans or some shit. And
Yeah.
I guess one time they just decided to give me like I don't know, man, like a little customer's gift or some shit. So they just put a fucking can of Zin in there. I don't know
Yeah.
what the taste was anymore, but it was pretty bad, so I just threw it
This
away.
one's wintergreen. Um, I think wintergreen's kind of love or hate. You either love wintergreen or you hate wintergreen. Because
I
yeah,
yeah,
some
yeah,
people get
yeah.
sick of it. Like people that have dipped with it or been around people that dipped with it, they get sick of it. But I actually like it. Um, I also found these. I bought these the other day. These are legal weed gummies in
Legal
Tennessee.
weed
Yeah.
gummies.
Um, so there's some kind of strain from the hemp seed or whatever, and
Mm,
it's called Delta 8, and that's legal, whereas Delta 9, which is the normal weed that everyone always smokes, is what's illegal. So like they found a loophole. And this
mm.
doesn't get you as high as um Delta 9 does, but it does get you like pretty fucked up. At least the gummies do. I've tried smoking it. It doesn't get me fucked up at all. But
Yeah, I've had a friend, I don't know if I told you this before, but I've had a friend tell me once he went to Amsterdam with a couple of my other friends. I didn't join in going there because I'm not that big of a weed guy,
yeah,
as you know. But
not anymore.
yeah, like 3 or 4 years ago maybe, but not anymore really. And
Yeah.
yeah, they went to Amsterdam and he tried some of those gummies and he told me he was basically like fucking tripping the fuck out for like 2 days straight. Like,
Yeah, you got to be
damn,
careful, man. You
yeah,
cannot
yeah.
go too hard with those. I normally will like try a small piece first, like an amount I know I could easily tolerate just to see if it's like safe, and then I'll
Yeah.
go up from there. But then next time I'll know like where my dosage is. But like if you go too hard, I mean, shit, dude, I actually ate one the other day and ate a little bit more than I should have. And I've been helping my family out at their property. Um,
Yeah.
that's like what I've been doing for work. So I'm like driving this tractor, tripping fucking balls, dude. I'm just sitting there like I'm having like an out of body experience, and I'm
Oh
like,
my
oh my
God,
god,
man.
dude, am I about to like just let this thing fucking crash into the goddamn ditch, bro? Like, because I'm
Yeah, I
like
was about to
watching
say,
myself. Yeah, and so I finally make it over there, and we're like pouring concrete for my grandpa's back porch, and I'm just like staring at the concrete mixer, like as as it's going in circles.
you think anybody noticed?
I don't know. I mean, at most, I probably just seemed a little bit tired or something.
Mm,
There's a couple times where I just wanted to sit down and just like
yeah,
just sit down,
yeah, yeah.
but I couldn't. I
Catch your
had to
breath.
pretend I was normal. I was like,
Yeah,
yeah, I'll bring this wheelbarrow over here. Yeah, sure.
yeah. They
Yeah.
probably didn't notice it because they were thinking like, yeah, this guy's fucking stupid anyways. Like,
Yeah. I was hoping that. You always know that like I was thinking about this the other day. I was wondering if I could turn it into a bit for the comedy thing. I don't know.
oh
But
yeah,
basically I was just thinking about like how sometimes your dad or your grandpa like asks you questions, and through the questions they're asking you, you realize that they think you're an idiot. Like I don't know, like, hey man, just make sure you close the door when you leave the house. Like shit like that. It's like, oh yeah,
yeah.
yeah, I didn't know.
I know that though. Sometimes you get shit like that from your parents, and it's like it seems like they have no ill intent behind it, but it totally makes it seem like a fucking dumbass.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I'm gonna make some food, and then it's like, yeah, like, can you clean up afterwards? Like, bro, you think I'm like 10 years old? It's like, it's just-
Or I don't know. I mean, like I always view my little siblings, like for some reason they're all like frozen at a certain age in my head. Like my little
yeah,
sister, she's still 7 years old in my head for some reason. Even though she's
mm.
17, I can't stop seeing her as like a 7-year-old. And same thing like with my baby brother Levi, who's like 12. I still view him as like a 4-year-old. But to be
Yeah.
fair, he kind of acts like a fucking 4-year-old. So, but no, it's and same thing with Jacob, who's in the Marine Corps now. Just like, dude,
Yeah,
how are you still like how are you still like how are you in the Marine Corps? You're a kid.
yeah, perfect fit then.
Yeah.
Yeah, nah, man.
Should I have said their
Reminds me.
names?
I don't know,
I don't
man.
know. Yeah, hopefully no one, whatever. If you come over here, what? No, I'm not gonna pull it out. But
Oh shit. Yeah, I can't flex with anything over here, man.
no, I actually did purchase this just recently, just a couple days ago. I was gonna get a different one, but it was pretty expensive, so I figured I'd ask my dad, who's got like 20 guns, if he's got any that he'd be willing to sell me. And
Mm.
he did. I guess he didn't really care too much about this one, but it's the car. It's basically their biggest concealed carry pistol that you can get, because it's not normal 9mm, it's a 45.
Mm.
So the only thing I don't really like about it though is that the clip only has like 6 rounds in it, which
Oh,
if
that's
like
pretty.
shit
Yeah.
kicked off, I keep hearing people saying, well, if you need more than 6 shots, then like, I'm like, y'all obviously have never like ran around and tried to shoot shit before. Cause like it's not exactly easy, man. I mean, yeah, maybe if you're fucking Tim Kennedy or some shit, but like if you're just normal Joe Blow, I mean shit, even if you're like in the military and you're an infantry dude, it's not easy to run around and hit shit with a pistol. So like I want something with like 10 rounds in it, like something like decent that I can, suppress the enemy with as I
Yeah,
run
yeah,
away.
no. Yeah, especially I was fucking always I was trash shooting with pistols, man. Like I was so bad.
Oh yeah. They're not easy, man.
Yeah, not at all. And the thing is, with ours, like I don't know who the fuck maintains them, but the sights in ours were like always so fucking off. Like
Yeah.
you would aim somewhere and like the instructor would just tell you, yeah, on that pistol you just gotta aim like, you gotta aim it like below the target, like to the right and below in order to fucking hit the center or some bullshit. And then it's
Yeah.
still like off. Like
Well, we were taught like, so yeah, if it's at a certain distance, you aim, but we were taught drills like where you basically pull it up and then press it out over and
yeah,
over and over again. Like, and you're supposed to just kind of like know where the bullet's going to hit.
yeah.
If they're that close. Cause like if someone's like running to me, I'm not like gonna like sit here and try to aim,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, of course not.
I don't
Yeah, we
know.
had some real I don't know if you had that as well. Like we had some real Wild West shit going on when we were getting taught how to shoot pistols, I remember.
Oh,
Like
really?
yeah, we had that getting up to your chest and pressing it out as well.
Yeah.
And when you get it out of the holster, you can like, you know, probably the same for you, but you like turn it forward, right? And then you bring it forward.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like instructor was telling us, he was like, so yeah, when shit really hits the fan, you can just like wild fucking west it, and like as you turn the gun forward, you don't even have it brought up. You can already start shooting like from the hip basically, and bring it forward as you shoot. Like
Jeez. I don't know about you guys, but like we didn't actually get trained a whole lot with pistols on the infantry level. I mean, we did do a couple ranges. Like I was there for 3 years, and my
yeah,
whole time there, I personally have probably only done like 2 or 3 ranges where we actually shot the pistols.
yeah,
Most
no,
of the time, they just don't do it.
we
It's
didn't
just a
do a whole
rifle.
lot of pistols. We didn't
Yeah.
do a whole lot of pistols either. But I remember that, like, I still distinctly remember the times when we did them because, well, first off, I was fucking shit at actually shooting them. That and the fact that it was so badly maintained is what I remember as well. And then, you know, the fucking Wild West shit is just kind of funny to me that, you know,
Well,
it's like, yeah, you don't even have to bring it up, just fucking start shooting from the hip. Yeah, exactly. Like fucking, you have it down there, like by your hip. You just fucking start laying down fucking rounds. Like,
I think it's one of those things like if the reason it makes sense that they don't focus on it as much because most of your time deploying or whatever, you're not going to be using your pistol. And if you
yeah,
do need it, you're kind of fucked. Like they're like overrunning your position and you're on a machine gun, so they give you a pistol and they're overrunning your position and you're like, oh shit, man. Clack, clack, clack. Like, dude,
yeah. When it gets to that point, yeah, it's just kind of, yeah,
I don't know though. I mean, I think like the higher tier dudes train with them a lot.
yeah.
So I mean, yeah.
There's detachments in the German military where it's like they're responsible for protection of politicians and whatnot, like
Yeah.
basically bodyguards. And I was told if you grade like really, really, really well shooting pistols, then they might like look you up because all they use is pistols, you know.
Yeah.
And then you basically get to become a fucking bodyguard for like the fucking chancellor of Germany or some shit.
Yeah. I don't know. I like it though. The grip itself is it's just real comfortable because with a lot of
Mm,
concealed carry pistols, they're like half the size of this, or maybe 2/3 the size of this.
really?
Um, yeah, because they want to make them like as small as they can. Because yeah, it's not ideal for like an act if it actually went down, but the chances of people just carrying something this big and heavy every single day, all the time, is pretty slim. But if you got something really, really tiny, you're probably going to carry that. So a lot of people want something really like my mom. Um, she wants one, but you know, she's gonna need something really small because I know her. She ain't gonna carry around some big old 45 every day, you know.
Right.
I was thinking about
Fuck.
upgrading in a couple months and getting like the P365X by 6 hour that I wanted
Oh,
and just giving
yeah.
her this one for Christmas or something. But I don't think she'll carry the shit. So
Yeah, I've had people I know a couple people that were in the Swiss army. And they use 6 hour weapons. They were saying they're pretty good actually. So
yeah,
I'm pretty sure the pistols are good as well. I've never used one a 6 hour, I don't think, but yeah, pretty good, I think.
I was gonna go for a Glock, but the guy at the gun store convinced me otherwise because I had to
Mm,
go to get my concealed carry permit. I had to do like fingerprints and shit, and it was also a
yeah,
gun store. And the dude was telling me like, yeah, but those are usually pretty big, and they are. They're kind of like a box
yeah.
gun. I mean, like the what was that one that everyone always used on Battlefield 4?
Was it
The
the Glock? Was it a Glock 18? I don't know. Was it a Glock
it
18?
was a Glock something. Yeah, yeah, I think it might have been a
That
Glock 18, the
that because
G18.
Yeah, I
Mm.
think I remember I remember the Glock 18 so well because I always used to play Modern Warfare 2,
Yeah.
and if you remember, maybe if you played that game too, there was the fucking Glock 18 full auto on there, and you can get that shit
Well,
like two-handed, like akimbo, and that thing
yeah.
used to fucking shred. Like,
Well, dude, that was like the snipers or I'm sorry, as I was the quick scopers primary,
yeah,
go to. Because he's like, yeah, I'm gonna go around and quick scope, but if anyone tries to act a fool,
yeah, that
start.
thing was that thing was fucking deadly.
Yeah, that was like, I don't know. I really got into quick scoping and stuff on Black Ops 2. That was where I really got into it. So kind of late in the game, I guess. But
Mm.
I mean, Black Ops 1 Zombies is the reason I got my GED. Like
Jesus.
hands down. Yeah. Straight up. Skipping school, staying up late. But no, I'm just kidding. It's not really I got a GED because I'm undisciplined. Do you know what a GED is?
Yeah, yeah, the general education thing
Yeah,
that
I didn't know if
you can do.
do they have something
Yeah,
like that in
yeah.
Germany?
Not. I mean,
Like, can you
I
drop out of school and get a certificate of some sort that's
not
equivalent?
necessarily. I guess there's. I mean, the thing is, in Germany, we don't. High school in Germany is basically split into like three different types of high school, so
Mm,
to speak. So when you finish primary school, you go into a. It's basically divided into the tiers, so to speak. So you have a lower tier high school, basically middle tier, and then you have the higher tier of high school. And the lower ones, like the lower and the middle one, they're like shorter, and
yeah.
the higher one is 2 years longer, but it also qualifies you to go to university and shit like that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, if you finish
That's
that one.
different.
Yeah,
What's the
it
most
is.
common one that people use?
Well, it used to be up until I finished primary school. Um, Primary schools could like make recommendations as to where a kid would go later on based on how they performed in primary school. And up until I finished primary school, it was actually compulsory to go to the school that the primary school basically picked out for you. So if you're acting like a fucking retarded ass kid in school all day, you'd go to the lower tier, obviously.
Oh my gosh.
But
They
if you
give no
behaved
fucks in
well,
Germany.
if you behaved well, you did well, then you could go to the higher tier. These days, the recommendations are still there as far as I know. But they're not like binding anymore, so you can just go to any which one, depending on what the parents pick. So usually nowadays the situation arises where lots of kids, because their parents overestimate them, they go to the highest tier because parents just think like, yeah, fuck the teachers, man, they don't know shit. My kid's a fucking genius, like,
Yeah, yeah.
and then they go to like the highest tier, and then like after 1 or 2 years they just drop down again to the middle one basically. um from there though, there's a couple of different ways where you can still get eligible for like universities and shit, even if you didn't actually finish the highest tier of high school. It is a pretty unique system, I think. Although I think other German speaking countries have a similar system. I believe Austria has a similar system, and then Switzerland, I believe, as well has a similar system to us. So yeah,
Really? Okay.
yeah,
So, I mean, I get it though, like with the parents, because I mean, you want your kid to have like all the opportunities that you
yeah,
can give them. And, but I don't know. I guess if I had a really knucklehead of a kid, I mean, is there at the lower tier school, is there something for them too, like a trade? Like they teach them how to
yeah.
do a trade or
So
something?
yeah, so basically the higher tier schools are kind of geared towards, as I said, you're kind of going to go into like university later, that kind of shit. So it's more, um, I wouldn't say sophisticated, but more geared towards, um, you know, like scholar type shit where they're already prepping you somewhat for college, where the structure is kind of similar and that kind of stuff. And then if you go to one of the lower tier stuff, classes there are kind of geared towards setting up for like a trade, as you said. Like
Yeah,
maybe you want to do fucking carpentry or some shit. You can like take courses in that, for example. So yeah, it's kind of geared towards that. And then nowadays, anyways, what's the trend I think that's also seen in America is where way too many people basically visit universities these days because it's too easy to, be eligible for one. I mean, back in the day, like a couple decades ago, that wasn't the case where as many people as today would go to visit universities and shit. But nowadays, it's pretty easy to get into one and, kind of survive or hang on by a thread for at least a couple of semesters, even if you don't like finish it.
yeah,
So way fewer people get into, apprenticeships or like, trades, like the older ones, so to speak, where most common people nowadays of the working class are kind of occupied in. So
yeah,
those trades are kind of dying out, and also coming to play that many of those things are now also getting outsourced because the like tertiary job sector is getting like fucking more important in like every Western fucking country. So yeah, those jobs are kind of getting shipped off.
yeah,
But yeah, I
yeah.
think that's kind of a symptom of that. Like
The
that.
sorry, I didn't mean
Yeah,
to.
no, go ahead.
No, I was just saying that the trades here, a lot of times will outperform a lot of degrees in terms of salary. So like,
Yeah.
yeah, like an electrician. I was in a weird spot with the union. I was I wasn't officially part of the main union. They had like a separate program because they needed more manpower than like official apprentices. So they had like a labor thing that you could join where you still got a lot of the same benefits that the union would give its workers, but you just weren't like an official apprentice. But those
Yeah.
dudes, if you were so like you're a first year apprentice, you're making like 23 bucks an hour and you're working full time. Um, and then like that's a year one apprentice and it's a 4 year long program. So when you're a journeyman, those dudes, and this was as of like 2019 in Indiana. So like it also depended where you were, located. Some places you make more. But those dudes would make like 56 bucks an hour and you're working full time. Sometimes overtime, you know.
Mm.
The union even had a deal where like I don't know how it is there, but if you work over 40 hours, it's considered overtime, where you get paid a time and a half or one and a half, whatever your normal rate is. And so the union
Mm.
had it to where it wasn't just over 40 hours, over 8 hours a day is automatically considered overtime. So even if you only worked 30 hours in the week, but one of those days you work 2 hours, like you work 10 hours instead of 8,
Mm.
then those 2 hours would have been, you would have been paid extra for,
Overtime, yeah.
yeah. So, I mean, you could make a killing. Whereas like if you got a college degree in like
Social
political
studies.
science, even political science, like, I mean, like if you're really good, um, I guess in the political world, then maybe that political science degree will get you to higher places. But if you have trouble finding like a job in, the political world, then like I mean, what are you going to do? You can go work for a company that just has a requirement of a degree. You're not even using your degree and you're probably getting paid some like 20. I know there's some college degrees out there. You get paid like 20 bucks an hour, maybe less,
Mm.
like social workers, 15 bucks an hour.
Yeah, but that's simply due to the fact that there's basically an oversaturation of those like fucking degrees out there now because as I said, way too many people technically go to visit college these days.
Yeah.
So, those places are very typically low demand and very high supply of like fucking workers. So,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. I
they can just
guess
basically
even like a
pick and
business
choose.
degree, which you think would be really useful. And I think it is from what I've heard from people that have it. Um, but like, that's not a skill necessarily. Like if you got an engineering degree, that's like a tangible skill or you're certified to do this, and only someone with that degree can do this. You know,
Mm,
I don't know. I'm not against people going and getting degrees for anything. I mean, you do need historians, you know, and things like that. It's just it's really got to be a passion for you, I think, if you get something that's not profit motivated at all. You know,
yeah.
yeah. Like I'm getting programming. I'm going for programming, but that's not because I have a passion for programming, although I might
Hmm.
develop one. I don't know. But I like the whole lifestyle where you can basically, like, I could come over there and hang out with you for a couple weeks, but still work, you know, as long as I got an internet connection. It's like I could
Yeah.
work through the day and then we can do whatever the hell at night. And that's what I like. I like the freedom. And then plus, you know, you can eat these if you want, and you're not gonna like get barred from programming, you know. So
What
I just
was that
like the
actually? I didn't
freedom.
see it.
Yeah.
What was that that food you just held up into the camera? I didn't see
Oh,
it properly.
it was the weed gummies that I bought.
Oh yeah, okay,
I
I
brought
see,
it
okay.
just as a talking piece. Like I brought this, I brought the gun, I brought
Brought the
the
fucking gun to the table, man. Shit, I'm unprepared. I don't have anything right here, man.
yeah, shit,
I have
man.
my
You ever come
fucking
over here? You could shoot it.
I have I have my fucking beret sitting here on the table.
Oh, nice, nice. Mine's at the house, but yeah, dude, I literally was in the backyard the other day of my dad's. I was asking him like, because he showed me two pistols he'd be willing to sell me. One was like
Mm,
just as expensive as the pistol that I was gonna buy anyways. And then
mm.
there was this one. Um, I just went in the backyard and he gave me like 10 rounds each gun. He's like, yeah, just shoot them up and see which one you want. It's like, all right. It's got to be crazy though from a European or perspective, you know?
I think I mean I'm kind of familiar now with the what the goings on in your fucking place, so I'm not even surprised anymore. I mean, but I think if you told this to like the average guy, just like, yeah, it's fucking shoot whatever, man. Just like, you know, they'd be surprised again. But then again, there's lots of like fucking memes about it as well. So it's definitely ingrained into like the general consciousness that, fucking guns are relatively easily available in America, at least compared to fucking us, so
Yeah. I was thinking while I was driving earlier, because I've never actually been a concealed carry person. Because like before I joined the army, I was too, or I had just become old enough, but I didn't have the financial means to go buy a gun and all that shit. Um, but before that, I wasn't old enough to have one. And then after the army, I wasn't, or yeah, I mean, that's when I got it. You know, during the army, I was in Italy. So
yeah.
I was thinking though, like while I was driving with the pistol, I was like, you know, people are so worried in Europe about like how crazy it is that we can get guns. But it's not like people like me that are going to go shoot places up. It's going to be people that we're going to do it anyways, you know? And I think that with the I think the main problem is of course like how easily accessible it is. That's why, you know, people can go get it and then shoot places up. But since it's already easily accessible, I think you're kind of dumb not to have one because
Mm,
it's already out there and people can go get one and go do crazy shit. And so like you might as well have something so that, you know, if that happens, you can handle it.
yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, and I don't really like. I know that America had lots of guns and all that shit, but I don't necessarily even think that the rate of gun ownership is the main issue with America, and I don't really know where to point my finger as to what the main issue would be, because there's other countries that also have very high rates of like gun ownership. I think Australia used to have a very high rate of gun ownership as well. And then like one shooting happened, and they just all fucking clamped down on the guns, and then that was that. But before then, they used to have few problems with gun violence. And then Switzerland as well, like fucking, if you're a Swiss serviceman, you can like take your fucking like pistol, your service pistol home with you, and you have to realize in Switzerland, military service is compulsory, so you have to go to the military. So there's lots of motherfuckers just running around with fucking guns, you know. Then again, all of those people are like trained to use them in the military, so I guess it's also somewhat different, you know, because I don't think most people in the military would just fucking go shoot some places up. But I don't know, man. I wouldn't think that, you know, from now to today, if guns were made like readily available in like France or Germany, I don't think the like rate of gun crime would jump as highly as it does in the United States. And I'm honestly not quite sure as to why it is that the US has such an extraordinarily high fucking rate of gun violence as it has. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah. And if you think about it, the military itself has a lot of gun ownership, obviously. Like people are I'm not saying like they own guns, but like I remember when I was going through basic training, I was surprised when we went, 3 weeks in. It's like people just off the street, you know,
Yeah.
3 weeks of basic training. And yeah, they've been screened and all that stuff, and they don't have criminal records, but like everyone gets guns on the range, everyone has ammo, the drill sergeants don't, and they're instructing, teaching people how to shoot. And all these people have guns and ammo with plenty of reason to want to shoot that bastard, because like I mean there's bullying, there's hazing, there's all kinds of shit like that in the military.
Yeah, yeah.
And there's so many opportunities for people that are getting hazed and bullied to shoot the hazers and the bullies.
Yeah.
And they don't, so like I don't know either. It definitely has to be like a culture thing, I think.
Yeah, like yeah, I think culture is a big part of it, maybe like a mentality thing almost as well. I'm not sure. As I said, I don't have a concrete idea on what it is that could cause it. But it is interesting to note that, you know, it is such a reoccurring theme basically in America, you know. I mean, it is basically one of the most common talking points when talking about American society, you know, the guns and shit like that. So
Yeah, I don't know. And then you've also got to look at each state to see like, what their statistics are, because I think a lot of times in Europe, Europeans will kind of view America as like a country that's the size of their own, whereas America's like a huge ass country. So, if America had, like, for example, say you're doing a comparison of Austria to the United States and who has more, mass shootings or whatever. Like, obviously, Austria would have less because proportionally America's much larger,
yeah,
And
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not saying that people do that specific comparison,
Yeah,
but like
yeah,
I
because
think
people really don't.
yeah. I'm not saying that though. I was
Yeah, I
just
get
saying
you.
fuck you, man.
I'm sorry, man.
um
That's why
no, but I'm
per
saying I think
capita
people look at it.
statistics exist. Yeah, I
Yeah.
get you. I get you.
Yeah. Like they look at it like, oh my God, like they keep seeing it on the news that, this shooting happened, this shooting happened. And
Yeah, of course. I get you. I
yeah,
get you.
obviously
Yeah,
per capita, it's still more, but I think people view it as even more than it actually is because it's so much.
I get you. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just had to like fucking shit on you.
Yeah.
I'm
Fuck
sorry,
you,
man.
man. All
I
right.
could not.
Making me look like
Couldn't
an
hold
idiot
back,
on the
man.
internet. I don't
Yeah.
need any help
Wouldn't-
doing that. All right. Do that
Yeah.
plenty on my own.
Wouldn't be the first time either.
Like just starting this podcast, like it's called Jeremiah Kidwell, dude.
Yeah, I was actually like when you messaged me that I was on vacation last weekend with my girlfriend. We went hiking actually in Switzerland in the Alps, and I was sitting there, we're like having a fucking drink or whatever. I'm all sitting there like, shit, man, what could the name be for this fucking podcast? Like for a solid hour, I was just sitting there, fucking thinking, just fucking. Meanwhile, I'm trying to like maintain a conversation, and then it's
Yeah.
like, yeah, in the back of my mind, it's just like, what the fuck is the name of this podcast gonna be, man? Like, you really had me thinking for a bit. I didn't come up with anything good, though. I don't think. I'm
I
usually
don't
not the
know.
most creative type.
Me either. Even though like I'm trying to do creative shit, but I was thinking about naming it this. Please don't listen to this podcast, or please don't listen to my podcast. Only so that when people, like when I'm talking to people, I'm like, yeah, I got a podcast, and they're like, what's the name of it? I can be like, please don't listen to my podcast,
Uh,
and they're like, why not? And I'm like, no, that's the name, idiot.
oh my god, man.
That's corny, huh?
Uh,
No, I was just gonna do my name because like I don't really know what the hell I'm doing on this yet. So I was thinking like just put my name and then I could do whatever I want with it.
yeah, it's a working title, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. And I did look it up. You can change the channel's name after it's been made. So like
All
I
right,
could
perfect,
change it
man.
at any point.
So maybe in the future, this will actually have a name, and we'll just look back on this like, shit, man, these guys are clueless.
Yeah. Well, and I watched like a shit ton of Joe Rogan, and
Yeah.
not just Joe Rogan, but like others. But that's probably like the main one that I've listened to
Mm.
for like years. So I'm doing my best not to like copy everything that they're doing. But like it's funny because like they did something so simple, right? Like basically just turning on a camera. And at first it was like him and a couple friends, they just like fucking like they were facing the camera. And then
Yeah.
eventually it evolved into literally like, yo, let's sit down and let's just talk and like turn the camera on. And
Yeah. I think.
it's simple, but like I kind of like that idea. Something that's not so structured where you just get on and you just talk. And because like you don't normally have conversations like this just day to day where you just
Yeah, of course.
sit
Fucking
down with
talk.
someone
Yeah.
just to talk. Yeah.
Yeah. I think I actually like the Joe Rogan podcast as well. I haven't listened to a whole lot of it, to be honest. I think I listened to 2 full episodes. Um, One I listened to was Bernie Sanders. I think that was an interesting talk. I was
Mm.
kind of interested to see how it would go when Rogan would talk to someone like Sanders, and I think Sanders really did a pretty good job actually talking to him. I recommend that one. It was an interesting talk. And then the second one I watched was the one with fucking More Plates, More Dates, if you know that guy, fucking Derek, More Plates, More Dates. Fucking
Oh, no, I don't
yeah,
think I
it's
listened
a
to that one.
no, it's the fucking like fitness YouTube guy, man. It's fucking great entertainment. If you look it
Yeah.
up, like fucking Derek More Plates More Dates, that guy is fucking shoulders like cannonballs, basically.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's like memes about him, like fucking some guys strapping on fucking basketballs onto his fucking shoulders and like talking like him.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I like the setup. And props to Bernie Sanders for like as a full blown politician and everything,
Yeah.
sitting down,
Yeah,
on the
that's
Joe
what I
Rogan
thought as
show.
well. Like that's why it was so interesting to me because Sanders is a very established name in American politics by now. He fucking perennial fucking loser in the Democratic fucking presidential nominations and shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
And for him to come on there, and I mean he had a pretty decent shot in 2016 to actually be nominated fucking candidate. Um
Yeah.
so for him to come on there and actually talk to Rogan was pretty fucking interesting to me actually. And I think he held his
Yeah.
own pretty well as well.
Yeah. It was pretty nuts, dude. Cause like, I don't know many other people of that stature that sat down with them. I know there's some like people that were in the Senate, or the House of Representatives. I don't know what, I think it was the House of Representatives, basically someone that was in Congress. And he sat down with him. Dan Crenshaw, that's like the Navy SEAL guy or whatever.
Oh yeah.
He's missing the eye. And
Yeah, I know, yeah.
yeah, and I know
I didn't
he
know.
sat down with Jocko and stuff before. I think that's
Yeah.
kind of how he made his name in a way, is
Mm.
like through podcasts. I could be totally wrong though. I don't know. You gotta
Joe
be
Rogan,
careful
you
when you're
mean?
saying shit on the internet, because like fucking Dan Crenshaw is
You-
gonna pop out of the woodworks, be like, "You said what? Said what, motherfucker?" What were you saying though? Sorry.
Yeah, do you think you were talking about Crenshaw when you said made his name of podcast or Rogan?
Yeah, I was guessing because like I know he's got a lot of uh attention maybe off of or publicity or something off of the two podcasts like Jocko and Joe Rogan and
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm not sure about that myself actually, so I won't speak on it.
yeah, I got to be careful talking on the internet, man. I feel like I better like make sure I say I have my fucking ducks in a row before I say some shit, you know? About to get fucking blasted. I'll get canceled.
With Rogan though, it was funny because I used to watch lots of UFC, and then you know, the whole podcast thing kind of started up a couple of years ago, and then before that I was only familiar with fucking Rogan as like the voice of the UFC.
Yeah.
Um, and then he obviously started his podcast, which kind of added a whole new fucking, you know, side to it. You know, this fucking all of a
Yeah.
sudden this guy that I only used to know from like fucking watching Conor McGregor go at it and shit. All of a sudden he's like fucking one of the most popular, if not the most popular fucking podcaster in the world.
Yeah. I watched his I didn't even know that it was him. Okay, basically, I watched Fear Factor as a kid, you know.
Yeah.
But then when I started listening to the Joe Rogan show, I didn't recognize right away that he was the Fear Factor guy. You know, so like it took after a while and he mentioned it. I was like, oh shit, I didn't realize it. Yeah, he did Fear
Fucking
Factor.
click.
He's a stand-up comedian. He's a UFC commentator, and then he has that random ass podcast that just blew up to be one of the biggest ones in the world. I don't know,
I think
man.
Spotify
Kind of crazy.
Spotify bought that shit. Spotify bought that shit, didn't they? For like a couple hundred millions or some bullshit. It was a huge deal. Or like
Yeah,
tens of millions or some shit.
yeah. They wanted him to be exclusive, and if I remember right, I think like leading up to that, he was showing more and more um discontent with YouTube because like YouTube, I guess, would like keep censoring shit or like they would demonetize a video because you know it they said something or they showed something on the TV screen that was like copyright. I don't know, shit like that. And I think
Yeah.
he just got tired of it. And then of course Spotify was willing to buy his show for 200 million or whatever it was. I don't think anyone actually knows officially. I don't think he released
Yeah.
that information, but
A huge deal.
yeah, and
It's funny
almost
to me
bit them
because
in the ass whenever like everyone was jumping down Spotify's throat. Whenever I don't know, Joe Rogan, you remember the whole like thing where CNN tried to cancel Joe Rogan with I don't remember
the
he
COVID
kept
thing.
yeah, the COVID thing, and then I think he he used to say the N word like all the time, like hard R and everything. And then they made like a compilation video of every single time he'd ever said it on his
Oh
podcast,
my god, man.
and they were playing it on CNN. You know,
Oh my god.
and of course it was
Didn't even
bleeped. You know,
I didn't even know about that.
yeah, because he used to always say shit like he never really he thought it was crazy that like just noises, you know, like this
Yeah.
is like an illegal noise, this thing I'm saying right now, but it's just a word, you know.
Dude was definitely off the fucking PCP when he thought about that.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, man. Fucking illegal noise, bro.
Well, it is kind of nuts, man, that we're like just by making noises with your mouth, you can make someone angry, you make them happy, you can make them feel all right, you could scare the shit out of them. You can, just with the noises you make with your fucking mouth, you know.
Yeah, well, no shit. That's kind of the way we fucking communicate, man.
All right, Philip. All right, listen. Listen, I've been going to
No,
jujitsu lately, okay? So I'm not gonna put up with
oh
any of your
shit.
shit. You might
Oh
have some
man.
muscle, okay? But I have that white belt skill, bro. So
The white belt skill. I
That
I
white belt
actually have that
skill.
one. I have that one as well. I used to visit jiu-jitsu classes as well when I was like fucking
Well,
10.
it's funny you say that. It's funny you say that, right?
That's why I said, right, yeah.
Yeah, because if you were like we're on the video camera and it's cool and everything, but if you were in front of me and you said some shit like that, dude, shit, man, you know what the fuck I do, dude? I'm gonna tell
Nah,
you right
man.
now what I do.
All right, man.
First thing I do, I'd shake your hand.
Oh,
Yo,
man,
Phil, come
okay.
here, man. Yeah, yeah. Good. Because I like respect, respect that you had the nads to say what you said, But the next thing I
Yeah,
do,
yeah.
man, I'd get up, put my hands on my hips, and then I'd pull. No, I'm just playing.
Fucking
We should
goddamn it,
not be
man.
making a podcast.
This is this is the type of tier conversation that it always devolves into kind of. It's like fucking
Yeah, you think Joe Rogan will watch this and then invite us to come onto his podcast after seeing this?
nah, I don't think so, man.
What are you talking about, man? After that, come on, dude. That was like gold.
Oh, I can't.
Be like, Joe Rogan, you might think that you make a lot of money, sir, with all your views and everything that you get all the time with like every guest that you bring on. But the views that we will bring, because of all the fame we have and everyone that knows
All the
us,
fame.
all the fame,
You
all the
mean like the
non-existent fans that are gonna watch, gonna make you a rich man.
Oh man, finally. Been waiting for that to happen.
Oh, shit. Yeah, let's not air this
Fucking
one. No, I'm just kidding.
man, who
Like a
gives a shit
fucking idiot.
Who gives a shit anyways?
Yeah, my worst fear is like people that I know are gonna watch this or watch anything that I ever put on YouTube.
How that poses a question though. If you're afraid of it, then how come you do it still?
Well, because this is fun, man. It's kind of fun doing a podcast.
Yeah, that's true.
And I'm not really afraid. Like if they watch it, I'm gonna tell like if they somehow it comes out in conversation that I have one, I'm gonna tell them like don't watch this shit. Or I'm not gonna say that. I'm just gonna don't watch it. Because I don't want them to, and if they watch it at that point, then hey, at your own risk, all right. You might hear some things about me that you don't want to hear. Same thing with comedy, man. Like the stand-up comedy, which I haven't. It's not like I'm a comedian, but like I wouldn't want anyone coming to my open mic nights that I knew. Only the other comics that are there can watch me
Actually,
fail.
I tried to watch that video you sent. Where you did the stand-up comedy, but for some reason it was really laggy for me.
Mm,
Like the audio and the actual video was very, off sync. But
which
you did
one?
say,
Was it like the 5-minute video where I was talking about shroom trip in Amsterdam, or
I'm not sure, it was a longer one, I think.
oh, there was another one that someone sent me, and it's really shitty quality because it went through like a text message. But
Oh yeah, that might be the one then.
yeah, that one's basically it's a bit about my my fat grandpa getting into a Jeep. But yeah, basically like I was watching him one day, he was getting into his Jeep and he had to grab his pants to pull his leg into the Jeep.
Yeah.
And I made fun of him for it on stage.
Man, you're such a great person.
Yeah, I know, man. I know. I don't know. I felt like a dick, but he's never gonna know, and no one I ever did it in front of is ever gonna meet him or know him. And it was funny, so fuck it.
Yeah, man, gotta do it for the fucking content, man.
Do it for the
No fucking
content.
morals.
Do it for the Vine.
Exactly, man.
You remember Vine? That was probably like the first generation memes right there.
I always think of Vine as like the precursor to TikTok, and I'm surprised at
Yeah.
how
Hmm.
big like TikTok has gotten huge. Like fucking extremely fucking huge. And I never imagined that something in that format could get as big again as fucking Vine. But I think it's kind of interesting because Vine and TikTok are similar in the respect that they capture very short attention spans, so to speak, because these days motherfuckers can't watch like a fucking 10-minute YouTube video without getting bored of it after like a minute. So
Oh yeah.
fucking
Yeah, those people.
yeah, no, I mean it's kind of telling that very very many social media pages have kind of adapted to the trend, like fucking Instagram Reels and YouTube Shorts and whatever. It's kind of all the same format as TikTok, like very short, concise videos, very short skits or whatever, edits, memes, whatever the fuck. It's basically all the same as TikTok, and it's extremely popular in like all those fucking platforms. Kind of interesting.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, it's definitely different now than even like when I was a kid, with all the connectivity and everything. I don't know if that's good or bad. It's probably like both in different ways. But I mean, yeah, like just that we could do this, this wasn't possible probably even like 15, 20 years ago, or at least maybe it was, but not even like 40 years ago. Like that's not too far back. And this was impossible for humans all the way before then, to just be able to do like a video call where both people are at different sides of the planet
Yeah,
and they just have a conversation and record it and then they post it to this thing that millions and millions of people could view. Not that they're going to view this, but could view this if they wanted to.
can you imagine?
Shit, man. Well, I'm sorry, guys, that this is what you all waste
Yeah,
your
but
time watching. But
yeah, just in case.
get fucked, you'll never get that time back. I'm just kidding. I've spent a lot of time listening to podcasts and shit. But most of the time
I'm
it's like when I'm working.
Yeah, I'm not that big of a podcast guy myself, actually. As I said, I like the Joe Rogan podcast. I've only listened to a couple episodes, as I said on that one.
Yeah.
Um, Mostly when I, work out or I fucking just hang around or whatever, I just listen to music most of the time. And not really podcasts. While I believe that podcasts, they do have some, fucking maybe inherent value in them. Maybe you can learn something or get something out of it if it's an interesting topic or whatever. I just feel like most podcasts are kind of afflicted by, just fucking talking for like no reason whatsoever. It's just like, yeah, let's just fucking sit down and talk for like 3 hours. And then after listening to it for 3 hours, you're just kind of like, yeah, I mean, yeah, I just listened to this for like 3 hours. Now, what the fuck did I get out of it?
I don't know, man. I think it depends what you're looking for in it. If you're actually looking for like value, one so like Rhonda Patrick, Dr. Rhonda Patrick or whatever, she's a nutritionist and she goes on the Joe Rogan show and I think she does her own thing now, but she puts out like a lot of valuable information in her podcast when she's talking to people and stuff.
Mm,
Like, because she's constantly going through new studies and things that have come out um, about what's good for us and what's not good for us and like what's contributing to longer life and shit. So I mean, you could get something like that with somebody that has knowledge where they're actually sitting down and talking to someone and you're learning a lot by listening to them. But then there's also podcasts where you're just bullshitting, like you're
yeah, yeah.
just for entertainment, I guess. Like what's different between that and music,
Yeah, I get you. Yeah, I mean, like with music, I can like fucking, I can sing along. I can fucking, you know, do
You can
that
laugh
shit. But
along on an entertaining podcast.
Yeah, fair enough, man. I guess. Yeah, you're not wrong.
Or even Dan Carlin, the hardcore history guy. I don't know if you've ever heard of him, but he was a reporter, I believe, or no, a journalist.
Mhm.
And then, he's always studied history, I guess. And then, he'd read boring texts written by historians about all these different wars and different things that have happened. And he made a podcast where it's basically like an entertaining 6 hours of him, explaining history, almost like in a story like fashion, where, and he'll focus in on certain aspects where, like a guy and another guy had this thing happen, and then he'll kind of zoom out and go over the broad scheme of events. And I don't know, I've learned a lot about history just by listening to his podcast.
No, it does sound like an interesting concept because let me tell you, most historical sources are rather dry, especially if you read like
Yeah.
yeah, if you read like philosophical texts. For example, I have Plato sitting on my desk right here. I've been fucking reading The State by Plato. And Plato, I don't know if you know, he was he was learning, he was like an apprentice under fucking Socrates, the philosopher. And fucking all this book is basically fucking Plato writing up like a protocol of conversations that Socrates used to have with people that he would just like fucking meet like randomly. Like the book starts out with Plato, Socrates, and some other dude like coming home from like a fucking festival or whatever. Like, some good old Greek human sacrifice going on, and then they just want to like get home. And then like some fucking guy and his fucking friends, they just see like Socrates and they're like, "Oh, Socrates, man, we gotta challenge you to like a fucking philosophical duel." And then like for like 200 pages straight, it's like a conversation with like Socrates making these fucking guys mad about shit. Like, fucking- it's kind of hilarious when you think about it. And
Yeah.
something that's Socrates frequently gets accused of only asking questions, like never answering questions himself. It's kind of
Mm.
funny because you can really like it really gets reflected in this book because Socrates he only fucking asks people what they think about certain shit in order to not get backed up into a corner because all he does is back people into corners by asking questions constantly. It's kind of funny when you actually see it unfold. Because people will like even in the book, like fucking the people he's talking to, they'll call him out on it. They're like, "Shit, Socrates, I'm not falling for your shit. I'm not gonna be answering all your questions." And then all they do is answer his fucking questions. Like,
um yeah, so there's just like there's questions your parents may ask you or your grandparents may ask you when they think you're an idiot. There's also things your friends might say that lets you know that they think you're an idiot, like you just said. You said
Socrates,
Socrates, the philosopher. Yeah, the philosopher. Yeah, thanks, Czech.
I'm not sure about the general education level, what they teach you in the GAD, my friend. I'm not,
Oh,
you know.
yeah. We didn't learn any Socrates, to tell you that, but that's just common knowledge. Um,
Yeah, no, I'm always unsure about what to tell people, and I don't mean this as a dig to yourself, because I distinctly remember one time when I was talking to some guy. I don't know where he was from in America exactly anymore. I think it was somewhere from the South, judging by how he spoke. Um, I used to play fucking Rainbow Six with this guy like 6 or 7 years ago, and one time he asked me like, "Yeah, where are you from, man?" Like, and I'm like, "Yeah, man, I'm from Germany, right near Switzerland, you know." And he's like, "Yeah, and I'm not making this up, right?" He's like, "What's a Switzerland?" Like, and ever
Jeez.
since then, I've like kind of made it up in my head to like not assume to know what people know, like, because that should just open my
Oh,
fucking eyes, man. Like,
I think you mentioned that before.
yeah, that
Um,
I will never forget it, man.
but no, I'd never read that book. Is it entertaining though? Like, I mean, is it hard to read? Is it written with like old English and shit.
Well, I do have the German version here, so I wouldn't know about that. It is interesting though, because it kind of opens up about what is it called? A
Meritocracy.
meritocracy,
Yeah.
yeah, on oligarchy, so to speak, where people are given, that's kind of the idea that Socrates had, like fucking people being assigned roles based on what they're best suited for. And in this book, I don't know if it's also called The State. I think it's called The State in English. He kind of expands on that idea, like in the conversations with the people he's having, also talks about justice and injustice and how, you know, whether or not justice is a good thing or whether the just man is a weak man or a good man and whatnot. So it's kind of an interesting read for sure. If you kind
Yeah.
of, it's also kind of crazy to me that these are conversations that we're having like 2,500 years ago, and they're just fucking sitting on my desk right here, which is kind of interesting. So yeah, I mean, it's a kind of a tough read somewhat because it's all basically dialogue, like it's not a traditional book
Yeah.
where you just reading text that's talking to each other back and forth.
Well, nothing's
But
new under the sun, right? Like this
mm,
conversation we're having has happened before
yeah,
on video
exactly.
call on Zoom. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, but no, I mean, it's an interesting read. I can recommend it if you're interested in that kind of shit.
Yeah.
Definitely a interesting read.
Or what was that book? I can't remember the guy's name, but he was talking about it, and it had to do with like how every civilization has its cycle. Like
Oh,
every
that's
civilization follows the same cycle.
yeah, that's Oswald Spengler.
It's German,
The
right?
yeah, Spengler was a German, yes.
Yeah.
He was a 20s and 30s German philosopher.
I heard it's hard to find like an English version of that though.
Yeah, I believe so because at the book, what is it called in English? I think it's just called The Fall of Western Civilization or The Decline of Western Civilization. And that book is like long as shit, man. Like I have it sitting back there, my fucking my fucking desk back there, and it's like 1,000+ pages. Like
Jeez.
it's longer than the Bible, man. Like all the New Testament combined.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I don't know. It sounded pretty scary though from what certainty. I don't remember what his
Yeah,
actual
yeah.
name was. From what he was explaining, I mean, I don't know if it's as if it cuts as close to the bone in the book as it does like by the way he was explaining it, but he made it seem like we're definitely in the downward um portion of that cycle.
Yeah, Spengler defines the four phases of a civilization as spring, summer, autumn, and winter, and judging by the markers that he put out for a civilization to look out for, we're definitely in the phase of autumn, like we're kind of in the downward spiral. You do believe what he puts out in that book. So yeah.
And what does he use? Does he refer to previous civilizations and give examples of how they're all
Well,
falling
yeah,
within the same
yeah,
phases?
there's a couple things to look out for. For example, repetitiveness of repetitiveness of art, like art not trying to be new anymore and instead just recreating the old, for example. It's one marker to look out for. And then another thing that's interesting, kind of which is kind of crazy if you think about it, is Caesarism. Like the fact that, like Julius Caesar did, like kind of assume control over the foremost civilization, or at least try to assume control of the foremost civilization. You could kind of point to that being like a Trump type figure as to how,
Yeah.
like, kind of a
Well, and with
strong
the
man
art being
personality.
recreated, like how many remastered games or or movies that are
Yeah,
like the
even that,
remakes and yeah,
like it sounds stupid when you say it, but that's actually like a thing that has happened before in other civilizations. like the Roman Empire and shit like that, where they kind of started just hashing out all bullshit. And,
Yeah,
you know, and even before then, the like fucking, I don't know which empires, I don't have it in my head anymore, which empires he always refers to it. There was also at least one Persian empire in there, then the Roman Empire, and then, we're kind of now in the West, in the phase of the Western joint empire, so to speak, ever since the West colonized the world, pretty much. And yeah, I mean, it's kind of interesting to think about it at least. I wouldn't say you know, could be an accurate prediction of the future, but it is funny to think about it. And, if you actually look at it and kind of, you don't have to read the entire thing because it's so fucking long. But if you do look at the, like, I mean, there's YouTube videos explaining it and shit. If you do look at the actual content of it, it's kind of interesting how much of it can be applied to today's times as well, and maybe kind of jarring as well. Like,
do you believe that there used to be a civilization more advanced than us, but then they all like bombed each other or some shit, went extinct, and then evolution took place over like millions of years until we're back to this point again?
I think it's an interesting like question because I've, I mean, obviously I couldn't make a conclusive answer about it because I'm in like no position whatsoever to take an accurate guess on
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah. We're just
Yeah, we're just
speculating.
speculating basically. Yeah, we're
Yeah.
just speculating basically. I mean, the thing is, you can't rule it out entirely, obviously. You can, because there's like, obviously could have been, and I think I've maybe said this before. There's some Indian mythologies actually surrounding this type of shit where, it could be pointed towards there being a precursor civilization type almost before us. And so I think it's interesting that some civilizations actually, like the Indian ones, referred to this type of thing being possible, actually having happened. Um, but then again, hmm, you would expect to find at least some traces from it, anywhere, like, I mean, you could say, it was so long ago, there are no traces left or whatever, but I mean, like even over thousands of years, you'll probably still find at least like a fucking like a brick stone or some bullshit from that time, like something. So it makes it unlikely, in my opinion, that something like that has like happened, because as I said, you would kind of need to find, like, if it did happen, then where's the traces of it? I don't think that there would be no traces left whatsoever, even if it was a very long amount of time. But can't rule it out, obviously.
Yeah. It would have to be like billions of years or some shit. I don't know. For it to completely erase every trace of that civilization.
Yeah, of course.
Um, what about aliens? Think aliens are real?
I mean, think that, I mean, if we are operating under the assumption that the universe is infinite, then obviously there has to be something out there, because if it's infinite, then it's gotta be, like, there's infinite possibilities. So it has to be there if it is indeed infinite. But the fact of the matter is that it is almost inconsequential to us, because on a cosmic scale, distances are so vast that the chance of us ever meeting another civilization are exceedingly fucking slim. Like, the closest fucking solar system to us is like 4.5 light years away. Fucking Alpha Centauri or Proxima Centauri, whatever the fuck it's called. The chance that life there exists is exceedingly small right now. And even then, like, the universe is so old and will live on for so much longer. Like, how old is it? Like 8.5 billion years or some bullshit.
No idea.
I think it was something like that, like 8 billion years or something. So there could have been already like a million or billion fucking civilizations that have existed everywhere all at the same time, or maybe not at the same time. Maybe like you have to consider how long have the human race been capable of like fucking spacefaring, flight, like space flight, like not even 100 years yet.
Yeah.
So that is like such a small fucking scale.
Yeah.
Like the chance that we'd meet someone is exceedingly fucking slim just because of how vast the distances are and how long the time spans are in which, the galaxy basically operates. So, I mean, yes, I think there's aliens, but pretty inconsequential to us, as I said, because there's little chance that we'll actually get to meet one another, even if there are some out there right now somewhere. That's my take on it.
What if it's like Star Trek and they are waiting until we're like at a certain level before they decide to make
Strike.
first contact? Not strike, but just to meet us, or
Yeah,
introduce themselves.
that's a theory as well, like fucking that we basically we don't know about it and we're like a fucking like we're under observance all the time, obviously, but even with that, like we don't know if it is the case, and there's like it's kind of a similar thing to what we talked about earlier, I mean, it's interesting to speculate about, but you can make like no definitive statement about it whether or not it is actually true. So I mean, it could be, you can't rule it out entirely, obviously, but I wouldn't make a definitive statement about whether or not, we're being watched or whatever, because you just can't know really. What do you think?
I don't know. I've watched some video footage from credible sources, and the United States military has recently acknowledged that there's been UFOs that they haven't, like, not hostile. I can't remember the name of the guy, but there's a naval pilot that, he's basically going through the footage of his aircraft because it was released, so he can legally go through it, and he never signed an NDA or anything like that saying that he couldn't talk about it. And it's basically an object that moves at impossible speeds, so speeds that our aircraft currently aren't capable of moving at, but then it can stop like on a dime, and it can switch directions like almost instantly.
Was it that
And
fucking yeah, sorry,
it's
was it
just,
that fucking tic tac like object
yeah,
that
yeah,
they
yeah, yeah.
yeah, I heard about that as well. That was very fucking baffling. Like that was very
Yeah,
baffling.
and the military's acknowledged it.
Yeah,
Like the
I
Navy
know
pilot,
that.
he was talking about it. He's like, yeah, when I reported this, they're like, yeah, we've been seeing them all the time. He's like, what do you mean you've been seeing them all the time? Like, this is just something that's just like, yeah, it happens. It's out there, whatever. I
Yeah, I
don't
mean
know.
that's an interesting case point because I kind of forgot about that one just now, but even then, like, they fucking no fucking idea what that is. Like, like no
Yeah,
fucking clue whatsoever, right? Like, and like I don't even know what the fuck to make of that one because I looked at a couple of videos about that,
yeah.
trying to like, come to a logical conclusion about what the fuck it could be to like explain. But the fact of the matter is that, I can't really fucking piece a logical explanation together in my head that would like make sense. So
It's it is baffling. And it's baffling because normally you don't ever hear about anything like that. I don't know if you would call it woo woo or what, like aliens are usually associated with crazy people that actually believe in it. But this is coming from a credible source,
yeah,
one that we've always trusted. And it's just like, what?
yeah,
And if they have these, that's the thing. So like if they're that advanced that they're able to do all that shit, then what are they doing exactly? Because if they wanted to kill us or dominate the world or whatever, it seems like they have the technology to do it pretty easily,
yeah,
but they're not. So like, what are they doing? Why are
yeah.
they
Then
floating around and shit?
yeah, then it also raises a question though, because if we assume it's a Star Trek like situation where they're just kind of watching us and waiting for us to like, grow, then why the fuck would you just like fucking fly around with like Tic Tacs in us, like in our space where we can observe you, man, like, and then just make us all feel all uneasy about it, like, that raises doubts as well, like fucking, that's not how you maintain like hidden,
What
like,
what if it's a space animal?
bro,
What
fucking
if yeah,
Tic Tac
like
shaped space animal.
yeah,
Yeah,
like
then
this
I've
thing
seen it
comes
all.
from outer space. It's been traveling here for like years and everything, and they finally decide to reproduce on planet Earth so that their kids have something to entertain themselves with. So the two parents can like get away and fuck.
Bro, I'm
I'm
not
just
sure if
kidding.
like I'm not sure if Interstellar like fucking Tic Tacs would have the same motivations as like humans. Like
Imagine just two metal objects like bam, bam, bam. That's what all the
God.
earthquakes come from.
Oh my God, man.
Okay, yeah, sorry, I ruined like a very serious conversation.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's a fucking infantryman in you coming through, man. Fucking gotta act retarded at some point.
That's the what? That's the what in me?
The fucking infantryman.
Oh, right.
Like,
Yeah. Yeah, I kind of miss it a little bit. Um,
I do sometimes as
TBH.
well. I do
Yeah.
sometimes as well. Like, but then I always think, I always like to say, grass is green on the other side, kind of.
Hmm.
And whenever you are in the army and you're like fucking, you're cold and it's like nighttime and it's raining, you're like crawling through the mud and everything fucking sucks. You're like, yeah, I'd be like everywhere where I'd love to be like everywhere right now, but like right here. So, and now that we're like
Yeah.
sitting here fucking where we, used to want to be at that situation, it's like shit, man. I wish I was back then. Like I wish I was back there again. Like
I don't know though, because I'll revisit it mentally sometimes. Like I think it was yesterday I was looking at Snapchat, maybe it was the day before, I don't know. And someone from my old unit was posting on their story. And the first picture was like, finally, we're done with Saber J, which is like the big, huge training rotation that sucks balls in Germany every year. And,
mm,
you know, so that's like the first one. I'm like, oh, cool. Yeah, they're done. I don't want to have to do that shit. Fuck that shit. Fuck Saber J. But then the next snap is them after they arrived back in Italy at Del Din. He's like, the only company in the whole battalion that has to do a layout, a pro mask layout right after getting back. And that takes hours. That's like where they lay all the gas masks out, and the commander has to come through and someone has to read off each serial number of every gas mask and he has to check it off. And he waited to
yeah.
do that until they got back from Germany. Like it couldn't wait just till the next day.
Of course.
And then stupidity like that is when I'm just like, oh, right. Yeah, no, I made the
Yeah,
right
that
call.
I don't fucking miss it after all.
Yeah. Or if you watch a video of like, I don't know, type in like 75th Ranger Regiment motivation or something. And it'll be like a compilation of like, Rangers doing like badass shit. And then a bunch of cool ass music in the background, and it'll show it like nighttime. They're shooting like machine guns and you see the tracer rounds under night vision
Oh yeah,
just
of
flying
course,
out.
man.
And it's just playing like, I don't know,
Fortunate son or
you're
some
never
bullshit.
gonna make it. You're never gonna make it. And then and you're just like, fuck, dude, what did I do, man? I gotta get
Fuck,
back,
man.
bro. And then it doesn't show all the bullshit because I remember like actually being, it's like nighttime and we're doing a live fire, which is like the shit you're watching on YouTube. But for us, it's like a 17-hour ordeal. And then for the YouTube video, it's like 45 seconds. It doesn't include like the hour and a half movement.
March there, like
Yeah.
fucking
All the setting up and everything. The sprinting through the woods, being out of breath, until you get to where you're supposed to be. And then finally the last like 7 minutes of the whole thing is like badass. But
yeah.
that's not that's not the whole thing, man. Like I wish I could just sign up and be like, yeah, man, so I do want to join, but I want to be an action only soldier. So like I'm only showing up when we're actually doing shit.
Like soldier stuff, like yeah, like
Yeah, like I want a Jeep to the live fire location. And like the rest of the platoon, they can walk there and do their whole, formations and all that.
shebang, yeah.
I'll just link in with them, right where we're gonna start the whole operation.
Yo,
right?
what's up, guys, man?
Yo,
Yo, hope you had a fun fucking way here, man. Are we gonna shoot some shit now? Like,
yo,
yo,
You
what up,
remember
man?
that?
Like, yeah, of course.
So yeah, that girl that came to my room or whatever, and I was trying to get her to come, like, so we can get it on, and she just kind of ghosted me, and I don't know why I put the yo with the crying laughing emoji. You remember that though, right?
Yeah, I do, man. How can I forget, man? We're talking to me afterwards and you were telling me the entire thing, and I was like, shit, man.
I felt so cringy after, man. I hated my life. Jesus. Have you ever done yoga?
Not really, no. I mean, like a couple exercises here and there, but not
I've
really,
been doing it. And I gotta tell you, man.
You like it?
Oh yeah. Especially if you lift. I feel like it feels so good. Like your
Really?
body starts to feel better. Yeah. Because you're doing all kinds of weird stretches. And they're not stretches that you normally do anyways. Like it's not like you sit on your butt, you like stretch out your hamstring. You do like all these different poses that stretch different muscles out that you normally don't even stretch out. And it's really good, especially if you lift. And I clearly
Yeah,
lift.
I mean,
Look at me. My little brother does
fucking,
poses, man, like the bodybuilder poses, like where he reaches behind and grabs his wrist, and he
oh,
like,
the tricep extension.
yeah. I'm like, dude, get out of here, man. What's wrong with you?
Dude, get the fuck. Yeah, it's kind of funny. Speaking of siblings, I fucking groomed my little brother hardcore into like working out. Like he now works out 6 days a week, man. Like that motherfucker. Like,
Damn, dude. I mean, created a little beast, bro. You just got him. You kind of gave him like the first little piece of chicken. And
yeah,
then he just
fucking.
yeah.
He just went. Like, Jesus. I'm pretty sure he's gonna surpass me at some point, man. Like he's taller than me now as well. Fucking.
Is he?
Yeah, actually is.
Yeah. So you and this girl, you two are actually starting to hit it off, huh?
Mm-hmm.
So like it's still going pretty good. Like you said you guys went on a hike.
Yeah. We were in Switzerland for a couple of days last weekend, from like Thursday until Sunday. We're hiking.
Oh, so you guys like official now? Like an official
Yeah. Pretty
item?
much, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Guess so,
Nice.
yeah.
You take her to the Black Forest?
Yeah, planning on it.
You taking her to the castle?
I already did, man.
Oh damn, man, it's a wrap then, dude. You brought her to the castle?
Yeah,
Hope brings her to the castle. That's how you know you're in, man.
yeah, man. I mean, I did bring you to the castle as well, man, and you're fucking like, it was so
I'm
funny to
in,
me.
bro.
Yeah, it's so funny to me. You were so fascinated by this fucking like this is fucking castle in my town, man. Like fucking, and you're so fascinated by it,
It's
man.
so
Like it was
old.
great. Yeah, like 1,000 years.
Yeah, over here, man. Like, there's a church they have over in this other part of Tennessee that's like 300 years old or something, and that's a big deal over here. Just kind of like you guys have like casual castles that are older than our nation by like a multiple of 4. You're just like, yeah, they're all over the place, but that one's not a big deal, man. It's just like 1,000 years old.
Yeah, I think I've seen something once that really amazed me. I think there's more castle structures in Germany than there's McDonald's in America, and that was really
Really?
amazing to me. Yeah, there
Wow.
actually are, yeah.
We've got a lot of McDonald's, man. And
And
we're a big
actually,
country.
that I noticed it even more so though when we drove down there to like the Alps in Switzerland, right? Because it's like a 3 hour drive.
Yeah.
And whenever you looked on like some fucking mountain, there was like a tower there or like a fucking like broken down structure or whatever from like a castle. Dude, it was like crazy. You couldn't go 20 minutes without seeing one. Like,
Yeah. Well, it was we I remember when I was there, I was thinking about how we tend to think of people in the past as dumb, you know? Or maybe
yeah,
not dumb, but just like
like
uncivilized, you
yeah,
know.
like kind of backwards, like
Yeah. And maybe they are a little backwards, but they weren't dumb. I mean, they were just as smart as we were, or we are. Um,
yeah, like
maybe even smarter. It's just they hadn't been that far along in the timeline to have the same
yeah.
technology we do, you
Bro,
know.
like if you gave us two blockheads, like if you told me, like imagine they told us like 500 years ago, like shit, man, go and build this fucking castle. Like,
We're done, dude. There's no
bro,
way that we're building a
that's so
castle,
much.
bro.
Like even if they gave us like the resources to like plan it out, they gave us workers. I have no fucking idea how to do it. Like
You guys got a nail gun? Like
yeah, it's shit, man. You guys got cement, bro? Like
um before we started this up, didn't you say you think you could talk about what you've been doing or something? I don't know if you actually brought that up or not.
oh yeah, I mean, kind of the holiday that I had, or like the
Oh, you just
vacation I
meant in
had.
general. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, like,
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't been doing a whole lot, to be honest, ever since college started back up again, unfortunately. And I still got some work I need to like that needs doing this week actually still. But it's
Yeah.
all right. Just back to it kind of. And other than that, I mean, just fucking trying to trying to like fucking negate the fact that the weather's always getting worse out there. Like fucking, I'm just can't do like I like to go out and like fucking take a walk sometimes, but I can't even do that now because it's always fucking raining and cold as shit.
Dude, I don't like the raining. I don't like it to rain when it's cold, but like I love the cold, man.
Yeah, I mean, I don't hate it when it's cold. I actually prefer it being cold to it being like hot. When it's like colder, I like it more than when it's hot, because when it's cold, you can like do something about it. You can like just dress up like more. You can like pack on. You can always pack on like more layers of clothing.
Yeah.
Then it's like not cold anymore. But when it's hot, it's like hot. Like
Yeah,
fuck.
yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I grew up in Florida where it was super hot like all the time. And I did like it. I like being able to walk outside and just warm up if the house is pretty cold.
Mm,
But I definitely like it here in Tennessee more. I like that you actually have the seasons. Because a lot of people say that Florida you don't really have the seasons, because it
yeah.
doesn't get that cold. Some Christmases get pretty cold, but I do remember a couple Christmases where I walked outside in shorts and a t-shirt. Like it wasn't cold. It was warm, you know. So I don't know.
Yeah, over here it's usually pretty warm as well, especially in southern Germany.
Yeah.
But I think it's kind of we kind of get the extremes sometimes. Like I remember we used to have loads of snow when I was little, not so much now anymore. But it gets very, very, very hot in the summer.
Yeah. Um Indiana was really, really cold. I'd compare that to Germany cold. Not
Yeah,
all
you
the
do.
time.
You
Doesn't
do know
probably.
German. You do know Germany cold well enough.
Yeah, I do. I do. I spent way too much time in it and actually experiencing it, not sitting in a house.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's fun. It's always funny to me because I had basic training rather close to Graf and like Graf and fucking I know what the winter there is like, and do not envy you having to go there like multiple times whatsoever. Like,
Yeah, dude, it was rough. I remember one time, I think I told you about this, where we were in tents and the tents were heated, but the generator, someone poured diesel into it and it was a normal gasoline
oh no.
generator. Yeah, and it was like nighttime and it was snowing outside and it was cold and they had shut down the roads because there was so much black ice on it that vehicles were sliding off the roads and stuff. So they shut all the roads down. And there was nothing you could do to get warm, man. We
Oh
were
my
like
God.
huddled up when it was like time to sleep. I had hand warmers and I threw them like in my sleeping bag and I tried to like, I don't know, put them down by my feet and it still didn't get them warm. My feet were always cold. It was bad. Even when it was working, sometimes it was so cold it didn't matter. We'd like I'd stick my feet under the big heating tube. Like we had this big flex tube that went into the tent that blew the hot air. And I put that over my feet just to keep them warm. But the rest of me is freezing, man. And then if you had to go outside after you warmed your feet up, they got even colder than they would have originally.
Yeah.
Plus, for some reason, they never give before we never really used our winter boots. They gave us these really crappy issued winter boots, and
Yeah.
we never wore those. So they gave us good ones, but we had gotten into the habit of never bringing our winter boots. So we only brought our normal, like thin summer boots with us on that. And it was December in Germany. And we had to go, do 2-hour hikes through the woods with summer boots.
Oh my God.
Horrible, man. Horrible. But I mean, I can't even talk because like you guys, like that's all you trained in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of funny to me because I went to the range once in a place called Stetten am Kaltenmarkt, and am Kaltenmarkt translated literally means at the cold market. And the legend as to how that place got its name goes that one time in the Middle Ages they were selling goat at the fucking market, and it was summer, and apparently it was so cold that one of the fucking goats just froze to death standing on the
Oh my
market.
gosh.
That's how it got its name.
Did he
And
just like freeze standing?
yeah.
Oh jeez, dude.
Yeah, and
Oh,
we went shooting there once, and I remember we left out like base, and it was like, it wasn't warm, but it wasn't exceedingly cold as well. It was like, yeah, it was like September. I think it must have been like pretty much 2 years ago now. Um, and fucking fell asleep on the bus drive there because it's like a 2-hour drive.
hmm.
And at some point I wake up, and there was no snow before when we left like our base. And I wake up and there's like just snow everywhere, man. Like fucking everything's just like snow fucking everywhere, bro. Like,
Do you guys I think I might have asked you this before too, I can't remember. Does your schools or do your schools get shut down a lot because it snows? Like you guys get snowed in?
I think it happened like one time when I went to school, but other than
Really?
that, no.
Just once?
Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah,
guess you
just
guys are so
once.
used to it that you figured out. You remember in Texas when it snowed like 1 inch or 2 centimeters or whatever? And they just started shutting the schools down and shit.
What?
Yeah, because they never have
Bro,
snow.
what?
And so they get
Oh
one
my
inch of
God.
snow and they're like all the
We
schools
used to
shut down.
we regularly get like fucking like when it's like deep winter, like fucking February or some shit, or January, we get like fucking 5 centimeters at least most times. And
Really?
like never had school closed down except like once where it was like fucking 30 centimeters or some shit.
Well, I think it's because like in Texas, they're never prepared. I mean,
Yeah.
they're not prepared for snow because they never get it. So like they don't have all the trucks with the salt and the snow scrapers and all that like readily available. So they don't want to
Mm,
put kids in school buses and take them to school. Yeah.
yeah,
That's
of
one thing
course.
I did notice about America versus Europe is everything in America seems to be bigger or like there's just more space. Because yeah, you've been here before. I don't know. I've never been to the parts that you've been to. So I don't know if you went to like a big city type of environment.
Yeah, I was in San Francisco once, yeah.
Oh, so that might have been pretty. I've never been to San Francisco, but was it pretty similar to Germany? Like how there's everything's kind of compact a little bit.
No, it was not similar. Oh, well, it was like you say that it is like compact, like it is, like fucking, how do you say? I don't know how to describe it exactly. Let me try it like this. Basically, when I went to San Francisco, everything seemed huge, right? Like it seemed like a huge fucking city, and it is not a like small city. It is pretty fucking big. But when I like visited Berlin, for example, like Berlin doesn't seem bigger than San Francisco is, but Berlin is like 8 times bigger than San Francisco, I believe. So, it is way bigger than San Francisco actually, but it doesn't seem like it. Because in San Francisco, you have all these fucking huge ass buildings and fucking these big roads everywhere, like the huge sidewalks. So it just seems fucking massive, right? But in
Yeah.
Berlin, it's like it's so spaced out over such a large area that you don't even notice how fucking big it is when you're just fucking walking down the street somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah. That, and I feel like it's probably similar to New York City. I don't know. Maybe
Yeah,
I'm totally off point, but like just those big cities. I know downtown Tampa was pretty big. But it still wasn't compact. Like Italy was really, really compact, and there wasn't like any new buildings and everything. You remember Doc, whenever I brought him over, um, he kept talking about how he's like, man, all these houses are so beautiful.
mhm,
And he's right, because like what we're used to is we're used to like basic houses that are made a bunch of times. Like that's what a neighborhood is it's like the same house built,
a
a shit
couple
ton of
times, yeah.
times. Yeah.
Mhm.
Or maybe they have 4 different models and it's just built all throughout the neighborhood or something. Um, not used to like being in a town that's like on a hill and everything, and like all the different houses. You could see like almost the whole city, and like every house is uniquely designed and everything.
Yeah. Well,
It's
that's
pretty
because
dope.
like all those cities in Europe usually they just grew like naturally, as opposed to America, where most of them were just designed and then built.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
That's where like most like fucking New York, for example, they have that fucking like almost like a checker, like a board thing going on, like a chessboard. Looks like a chessboard if you look at it from above, because
Mm,
it's like all like straight roads and like squares and shit,
yeah.
as opposed to like cities in Europe where you just kind of like built shit as they went.
Yeah. Let me get this real quick. But yeah, I mean, that Italy, and I don't, have you ever been to Florence in Italy?
Florence, no, I can't say that I have. No, I did go to Rome, on a couple of occasions, but I've never been to Florence.
Yeah, I bet that it's pretty similar in Rome, because Florence, the design of the buildings are insane. Like the architecture is crazy over in Florence.
Yeah,
Um,
Rome is pretty crazy as well.
yeah, yeah. I don't know. I've never been to Rome, unfortunately. Like I'm probably always gonna kick myself until I go back to Italy that I never went to Rome while I was there.
Yeah,
Because
pretty big missed
yeah,
opportunity, I gotta say.
yeah. But I mean, I traded it for Germany and Amsterdam, and I was gonna go to the UK, uh, but that didn't
COVID.
work out. Yeah, COVID. Um, yeah, and honestly, if COVID didn't happen, I probably would have went at some point, because like there was like a whole year there where I really couldn't travel much because of COVID, maybe even more than that. So I don't know. It be what it be.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Hey, Jeremiah, I do gotta wrap it up here though soon. I gotta tell you, because I gotta get up early tomorrow for, my college kind of bullshit. So
Yeah, we're kind of telepathic, man. I was just thinking that we're probably getting to the point we gotta start wrapping it up. But
All right, man, perfect.
yeah, but that was
Yeah,
cool.
didn't want to make it seem unnatural, but yeah, thank you for having me, man. It was a nice
Yeah.
talk as always.
Yeah, it was fun. I'm gonna stop recording now. Bye.